Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. This is Alay Raza. I am heading the information security division of Raqami Islamic Digital Bank. Today, we have two of our guests who are our partners as well, Rafay Baloch and Raheel Iqbal Saab. With them, I will discuss different information security related issues and topics. Rafay Baloch is a leading security consultant. He is heading the organization Redseclabs, and they are our offensive security consultant. So over to Rafi. So first we discuss about the overall threat landscape, attack vectors, and surface area because we are Islamic bank, and everything we will do with trust because trust is actually is related to the Islamic concept of amana. So uh, the threats are numerous. We are getting all kind of threats, including account takeover, phishing, scamming, spoofing, digital frauds, especially in Pakistan. So if you can provide some light on that.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me on this podcast. And so, in terms of what we have seen, the way this landscape has changed is primarily after the rise of the branchless banking. We have seen the rise in the number of cyber attacks. And this is also sort of being perpetrated, or this is also sort of being advertised in a lot of the advisories that have been coming out from National CERT as well as the NCCIA and the likes of other law enforcement. And so what we have seen is the primary threat vector that's targeting the banking sector, especially the likes of a digital bank, is the account takeover. And the primary method that's being used to take over an account is the use of phishing techniques, and it is and as well as the social engineering, of course. And so there are a series of techniques that these scammers have been using to take over the accounts. And the primary goal is to, of course, siphon the money. And then, of course, they are using mules, other third-party accounts, to of course transfer that money. So there's this chain that is of course involved in this. And of course, the primary method is creating that sense of urgency. And so these cyber criminals have become really really smart because there's a lot of money on stake. So they have become really really smart, and they have sort of started adopting to techniques. So for example, this all sort of started with your Benazir income support program back in the days, whereby they had require that they required this biometric verification. And that's when these scammers started targeting people. And as well as things likes of Jito Pakistan, whereby they would promise a reward of some kind. And then they started evolving in different shapes and in different kinds. But the key idea here is that the attacker will sort of the scammer will sort of persuade you into giving you OTP. And once you've given you OTP, that's the key protection. And again, one could argue that we could sort of have multiple sort of factor authentication. We could have multiple OTPs, but if an attacker can convince someone to give one OTP, they could sort of convince them to give it them multiple times. So and so I would say, like, there's no firewall in the world, or there's no security control in the world that could protect a human stupidity. And this is sort of a well agreed concept. So primarily it's use of these social engineering techniques to take over these accounts and siphon money out of them. And then of course there is this banking trojan and banking malware, whereby we've seen, especially on the Android phones, attackers have, especially these scammers here locally, have developed these applications, that they would sort of persuade the victim to sideload onto their devices, because normally, um, you have to sort of install applications from the Play Store, which is the recommended practice. But they would sort of convince the customer to sideload those applications, and those applications, will sort of obtain permissions like accessibility and notifications, and or as well as SMS. So if an malicious application can obtain the SMS permission, they could request an OTP and then take over the account. So these are like some of the common techniques they're using to sort of take over accounts and siphon money.
That's excellent elaboration. तो वो जो आपने कहा जीतो पाकिस्तान इज अ बिग स्कैम, इस तरह से कोरियर वालों का भी स्कैम होते हैं। वो फ़ोन करते हैं कि आपने ये आपका कोरियर की डिलीवरी आ रही है जीतो पाकिस्तान में, आपने ये नथिंग इज़ फ्री इन दिस वर्ल्ड बिकॉज़ they pose as giving you a free thing which is actually not a free thing. Is you are the they scam you for that, and that is very risky. So taking it further, for example, from the development point of view, because Rai Saab is running a code banking company, which is actually code banking software development company, and you are one of our vendors. So what you see that how we can protect our software. So from the he said that account takeover is very rampant and these type of things are there and they tamper the code as well. So how you will manage it from the best development practices?
Thank you, Ale, for inviting me, first of all. I agree with Rafe on the landscape has changed tremendously. Uh, और ये इशू सिर्फ पाकिस्तान का नहीं है. दिस इज़ ए ग्लोबल फिनोमेना, वर्ल्ड वाइड इशू ऑफ अकाउंट टेक ओवर्स, फिशिंग अटैक्स, सिक्योरिटी ब्रीचेस. और जहाँ हमने ये देखा है अपनी एक्सपीरियंस में कि जहाँ पे पॉपुलेशन की अवेयरनेस नहीं होती, जब लोगों की अवेयरनेस नहीं होती, वहाँ पे ये चीज़ें आसानी से की जा सकती हैं. तो बेसिकली एज एन इस्लामिक बैंक और एज ए प्लेटफॉर्म प्रोवाइडर, हमारा जो फोकस रहता है ड्यूरिंग डेवलपमेंट या पोस्ट डेवलपमेंट भी, या प्रोडक्ट की डिज़ाइन के अंदर, इज़ टू बिल्ड अप समथिंग कॉल्ड ज़ीरो ट्रस्ट आर्किटेक्चर. मतलब कि द इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट ओवर हियर इज़ वी आर द प्रोटेक्टर ऑफ आर क्लाइंट्स मनी, बी द बैंक और बी द प्लेटफॉर्म प्रोवाइडर. एट द एंड हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ये है कि the money which is the customer is putting into the bank is remains protected, and we have to do everything and anything to make sure that trust with our customers remain intact. Customers can make mistakes, customers do make mistakes, social engineering does happen, but that does not absolve us as an institution कि हम उस पर कोई एक्शन ना लें या कोई उसको प्रोटेक्शन की मेथडोलॉजीज ना लाएं. तो फ्रॉम अ डेवलपमेंट परस्पेक्टिव वी ऑलवेज looked at secure practices one step beyond, considering mobile app जो सबसे ज़्यादा account takeovers और phishing layer में impact होती है, we make sure कि we do not trust anything. So the first objective when it comes to development is you are not allowed to trust anything. Whatever comes, whatever traffic is coming, whoever is inputting, we have to basically make sure that we consider it as an outsider. हमारी ऐप आज प्ले स्टोर पे अपलोड होती है, लोग प्ले स्टोर से डाउनलोड करते हैं, उसको इस्तेमाल करते हैं. अगर हमने उस चीज़ को भी ये देख लिया कि चले ये प्ले स्टोर से ही आई हुई ऐप, तो हम उस पर सिक्योरिटी कम कर दें, दैट इज़ ए रॉन्ग कॉन्सेप्ट. Whether it is from a trusted source or a non-trusted source, the architecture or the design principle remains कि we cannot trust anything. So we have to make sure कि हम वो checks and balances लगाएं जो कि उस trust factor को verify कर सकें. उसकी integrity is critical to us. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अकाउंट टेक ओवर की बात की जाती है. अकाउंट टेक ओवर के लिए पहले ओ आए, फिर ओ ऑन ईमेल्स आना शुरू हुए, फिर 2 फैक्टर करना शुरू हुआ. इवेंचुअली इंडस्ट्री रेगुलेटर ओवरऑल ग्लोबली ये चीज़ आइडेंटिफाई हुई कि किन किन चीज़ों से अकाउंट टेक ओवर जैसी चीज़ें इनेबल की जा सकती हैं. एक तो होता है ना कि आपके एप्लीकेशन है, दूसरा होता है आपकी डिवाइस इटसेल्फ. अगर डिवाइस प्रोटेक्टेड नहीं है आपकी, तो एप्लीकेशन भी इज सब्जेक्ट टू अटैक्स और सब्जेक्ट टू कॉम्प्रोमाइज. तो हमारा हमेशा डिज़ाइन प्रिंसिपल यही रहा है कि जब भी ऐप डिज़ाइन हो या एपीआईज, आजकल का ज़माना एपीआईज पे है, ऐप हो या ना भी हो, वी डील विद अदर पार्टनर्स एज वेल जो हमारी इंटीग्रेशंस कर रहे होते हैं. तो इन ऑल केसेस वी इम्प्लीमेंट अ जीरो ट्रस्ट आर्किटेक्चर कि जहाँ पे हमें वी हैव टू चेक एवरीथिंग, anything from an integrity perspective. Who is the source? What is the source requesting? What is it trying to do? And how do we protect and make sure कि हम अपनी साइड पे वो चेक लगाएं, rather than कि हम ये कहें कि यार आपकी डिवाइस कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो गई थी या आपकी डिवाइस वीक थी. तो इन ऑल सच केसेस इट इज़ द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द बैंक एंड ऑफ द प्लेटफॉर्म प्रोवाइडर्स टू मेक श्योर कि आज सिस्टम्स हमारे should remain ahead of the curve.
ओके एक्सीलेंट. ये अच्छी आपने एक पॉइंट, इस पे 2 पॉइंट मैंने नोट किए हैं जो विच आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. डिवाइस सिक्योरिटी एंड योर सॉफ्टवेयर सिक्योरिटी बोथ आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.